Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, not necessarily to take a look at the kind of smaller time frame stuff, but to take a look at the slightly bigger picture. Where do we think the weekly close position is going to take us? What does that mean for next week? What are next week's events and what is in store here for BTC? At least in my opinion. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will not miss another video update. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, you are missing a trick. Linked in the description down below. It is a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. It's the first place that we go to notify you of the ins and the outs of what is happening here in the crypto space. So check it out in the description below. Okay, let's have a look. Bitcoin paired up with USDT here. This is the 1 weekly chart. Binance is our data source like usual. And, you know, I've actually got a couple of lines on here to start with. Let's actually address these. These are the monthly levels. If I come up to my monthly chart, you can kind of see these very, very clearly. We basically have the 2017 all-time high just up here. Okay, we have a level that was rallied up to in June of 2019. And then we have on this real low side, actually down here in October of 2018. And I'm going to tell you, or kind of try my best to communicate why we have these three key levels, okay? So straight off the bat, we can see the 2017 all-time high. This was actually an area that we were struggling to kind of, I say we were keeping it, I guess, as a area of support. Okay, now this is from a monthly standpoint. We actually came down lower than the all-time high for the first time in Bitcoin history back in June of 2022, but we closed above that level. We then rallied up a little bit. We come down. We actually closed above this level again. It wasn't until September that we actually closed below the all-time high. That was the first time in history on a monthly candle we had done that. Okay, then we rallied up, we closed above it again, trying to fight and turn it into support, and then we've lost it here in November, and currently we're in December, right? So from a monthly standpoint, this has been a real key level for us, this 2017 all-time high, because it was an area of support and that may have now gone into resistance. Now, as we kind of come down to these key levels, we'll talk about this one first, okay? This is actually from October 2018, okay? On the face of it, back then, it didn't look like this was actually too important, and it wasn't really until we pushed past it and turned it into support that actually it started to become even more important to us. So it does look a little bit random here on this monthly chart, but it is another key area that I do think is well worth pointing out. This is actually down here at $77,680, which seems incredibly low for the price action of BTC, and I've just drawn it up here as a potential point of reference that we might want to consider at some point in the future if the worst does come to the worst. The other one on the other side, just at the top here, this is June 2019, is where we rallied up to and got rejected from. You can also see that we rallied up here in October of 2020, and we were just briefly getting rejected from it, and then we rallied on through it in November of 2020 as well. Okay, so we can see this significant rise here with BTC, but this was another key area that I think we are going to hopefully try to find support on if we come down that much lower. Okay, now I've been looking at these levels, all three of these levels, in fact, on USD, on Bitstamp, and those values are different. Here on the USDT pair, this particular level, this one specifically from June 2019, is set at $13,970 exactly. And this actually falls very much in line with what my kind of expectations are for the current position of Bitcoin and where it could actually end up finding support. So on the smaller time frames and this macro monthly time frame, this actually coincides quite nicely. And I do think this could be a really good position for Bitcoin to find support on. So really important that we kind of reflect on that. So obviously I just wanted to explain what those three levels were, okay, because they are very, very important levels. As I come back down to our weekly position here, we're going to start addressing, okay, well, what potential do we have here for rejection from these areas? And are we likely to see a push up higher before we get rejected to the downside? Or are we just looking to come down towards that $13,900 level and find support? Okay, but before we kind of get into what the weekly candles are looking like, I want to also address what upcoming events we have next week, because these could actually have an impact on the price action of BTC and the markets overall. So on Monday the 12th, is there anything major? I don't think these are major movements that are going to happen in the space based on this news, but we've got the UK GDP. Don't think that's going to move the market personally. We've got the consumer confidence of Australia, and again, I don't think these are going to move the market. But Tuesday, the 13th of December, this actually is going to be a pretty interesting day. We have the UK employment change for September. That's going to be a 7 a.m. start. So that's going to potentially create some uncertainty maybe when the London exchanges open. So just kind of keep that in mind, that some European traders looking at the London Open might be thinking they might want to move some of the stock markets around. And that may have an impact on BTC. In China, we have the new yen loans for November. So again, that may or may not have too much of an impact. Probably not so much. In the euro area, we have the economic sentiment for December. That's going to be 10 a.m. UK time. But the main one is going to be the USA inflation rates for November, the CPI for November, and that's going to be 1:30 UK time. So that's 1:30 in the afternoon UK. And I think that is where we see the major movements happening. Okay, and this is going to be followed on the 14th of December, so Wednesday, with the inflation rates for the UK. The USA, we're going to have the FOMC projections, the Fed interest rate decisions, and we're also going to see a Fed press conference, and this will be all really kind of kicking off. Again, in UK interest rates are 7 a.m. and then 7 p.m. we've got all the stuff kicking off in the US, and I think that's going to be again another big player in terms of creating volatility for BTC. On the 15th of December, we have the European Union Council meeting. We have the UK Bank of England interest rates. That's going to be super interesting as well, but I don't think that's going to move the market too much, but we'll see. We have the Euro area ECB interest rates as well, and then the USA will have the retail sales. So pretty big day on the 15th as well. On the 16th, we will have consumer confidence from the UK and inflation rates in the euro area. So basically, next week is going to see a reasonable amount of volatility based on interest rate decisions, Fed meetings and conferences. I think we're going to see a lot of volatility seep into the market. So when we kind of see what's going on with the current price action and we start thinking to ourselves what potentially could happen here, we could be in store for some pretty big movements when it comes to Bitcoin. So our weekly close position today for BTC is going to give us kind of a glimpse into maybe what might happen next week. I'm kind of feeling a bit bearish about it, but let's go ahead and take a look at where we currently sit. So right now we can see that this week has not exactly giving us too much in the way of price movement here, in the way that we have seen previously. Now, just taking a look at some of these key areas, if I actually draw on here with a little yellow box area, actually it's going to be a white box area. I'm going to make this yellow just to make it stand out just a fraction more. But if I do this on here, you can kind of see this particular area being a bit of a supply area, okay, a supply zone. And the reason for this is you can see these wicks. Every time the wicks have come into this area, the bodies of these positions have closed above until recently we pushed on through, which basically meant that we chewed through all of the buy orders in this particular area. Now the question becomes, are there going to be sell orders placed up here, and is support now turned to resistance? So in our weekly position here, if we close outside of this box between 17,600 and 18,800, then I do think we are going to be in for some more bearish times. Turning this into a support level could be pretty good as well, but I don't think that's likely to happen. Instead, I think that we are going to be in for a bearish week next week with everything that's going on with the interest rates from various different places around the world. I'm not expecting a Fed pivot. I think that will come potentially in 2023 quarter one. I'm not expecting that to occur in December. So just kind of bear these things in mind. I expect more bleeding here. This is why we see that there's big money, the billionaires, the multimillionaires not backing BTC. Instead, they're just exiting their positions and selling into whatever liquidity appears there. And that tends to be, unfortunately, retail investors. So in my position here, I do think that we are, or at least in my opinion, I do think that we are likely to see a pretty weak close for BTC. And I do think that we're going to see a very bearish week ahead as we look to close off 2022. If you have found this video useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you have not yet joined us in Discord, you are missing a trick. Linked in the description below, guys. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.